welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Sarah. This is Coco. She's in every video, so I have to introduce her because she snores and you're gonna hear it. It's not like loud and invasive, but you'll hear it. I haven't done an addiction video in a while. I think I've been focusing on true crime and scary stuff. Cause y'all know, my ride or dies know that when I started this channel, it was just gonna be true crime and scary stuff. That was it. And then I had a couple of people ask me to tell my story, because everybody knows my story. And I was like, sure, why not just go ahead, just post it all over the internet. No big deal. I mean, which really, I'm being serious. Like, it's no big deal because everybody knows. Everybody knows. Every single person on earth knows. You know why? Because I want to make it okay to talk about it. I'm tired of the stigma around addiction. I'm tired of it. I went through it. And so I'm tired of it. People are dying in silence when there's so many resources for them to be getting help. Okay, let me stop because I will ramble and bitch and complain about it, and because it aggravates me, and I said it's time to do an addiction video. So y'all want to listen to some addiction stuff? What I'm gonna do is I just made a list of the most questions that I get about addiction. That's what the video is going to be about today, is the questions I get asked the most from people I don't know about addiction. If that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and hit subscribe. Okay, so the first question. How do I know if I'm addicted? When people ask me this, whether they DM me or ask me on Reddit or Facebook or in person, wherever, I usually tell them that if you're asking me this question, you're probably addicted or well on your way. But then, you know, you kind of have to go with the formal questions of, am I addicted? So let me start with the formal questions, and then I'll tell you how I knew I was before I ever knew there was formal questions. The formal questions are, do you use alcohol or drugs, whatever it is you're using, whatever substance it is you're using, do you use it to escape from or numb emotions that you do not want to feel? I did. Do you center most of your free time around using the substance that you prefer? I did. Do you have to steadily increase the dose you take to be able to achieve the same feeling that you got before? Are you willing to accept negative consequences such as damage to relationships, losing your job, in order to continue using drugs or alcohol? I was willing. I mean, it takes over your whole brain. You'll do things that you never thought you'd do. So, do you engage in the behavior, even in situations that it could be dangerous, like drinking and driving, or, you know, if you've done some H or pain pills or whatever, nodding out and driving? Do you do these things? If so, do you find yourself craving the substance? Drugs, alcohol? Do you find yourself just like, I need to get that. Like, I gotta go find it. I did. Do you experience withdrawal symptoms if you stop cold turkey? Or even if you don't just stop cold turkey, like if you're not planning on stopping, like for me, that's the end of the formal question. So I'm going to go into how I realized I was addicted. I just hadn't done any pain, because mine was Oxycontin back when it wasn't the gel kind, like you could still crush it up. It was like the regular OC80 ones. That just tells you how long ago it was. It had just been, I don't know, like overnight, and I woke up and I was so sick. I was like cold, but I was sweating, and like my stomach was all effed up, and like I called my guy and I was like, what is wrong with me? I don't feel good. And he was like, He's like, I'll be there in a minute. And I was like, okay. And then that's when I figured out, like, okay, so now if I don't have this, I'm going to be sick. And when I say sick, I'm talking about you want to crawl out of your own skin sick. Can't get up off the floor sick. Just, it is the worst feeling ever. It's horrible. Horrible feeling. How else I knew I was addicted? Was that even a sentence? Whatever, we're going to go with it. Yeah. I was miserable. I didn't even want to do drugs anymore. I was like, this is not fun anymore. This is not fun. This is, I don't care. I'm over the hurt, you know, that I was, like, I took it to not have to feel hurt. And I was like, I'm over the hurt. Like, can we stop with this shit now? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. It just does not work like that. No. It does not. And I remember being so miserable, just not at all wanting to do drugs. I didn't want to do drugs. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so miserable. This is horrible. This is not how I want to live my life. What have I done? Am I just going to have to be like this for the rest of my life? And I didn't have the resources, or I probably had resources, but I didn't realize I had resources. If you're addicted to something, you feel like you're going to crawl out of your skin. It is the worst feeling. And like you have no energy and you don't want to eat anything. And it's just hard. It's just the horrible feeling. You cannot equate it to anything else. It's not like, oh, it's like the flu. No, it's not like the flu. It's like withdrawals. That's the only thing it is. Because, ooh, it's horrible. But when you get that call from the dope man and he's like, okay, come meet me. You somehow just all of a sudden have the energy to jump up in your car and go meet him. Because you know, as soon as you get that, you're not going to feel like shit anymore. That's how you know you're addicted. You know you're addicted when you have to do the stuff just to not feel like shit. You're not doing it to have fun. You're just doing it to not feel like shit. Okay. Another thing, and this is horrible. Addiction, it's lonely. It's an extremely lonely disease. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed. You don't want to admit to anybody, you know, what you're doing. You don't want anybody to know that, you know, because there's such a stigma. Everybody has looked down on it, and it's just not, like I said, there's a stigma. And so you don't want anybody to know. So you're alone in your misery. And that's what I hate. I want to make it normal for people to have conversations about it. For people to say, shit, I think I've gotten in too deep. Like, I need to go talk to somebody about this. The official, like, am I addicted? Addiction is an inability to stop using a substance or engaging in certain behaviors to obtain the substance with no regard that it is causing you and your loved ones psychological and physical harm. So, that'll answer questions of, how do I know if I'm addicted? The next question that I get asked the most, which I love when somebody asks me this question: how do I ask for help? And I'm going to make this question right here, I mean, I'm going to answer it right now, but I'm going to make this question right here like a whole separate video, because I think it needs its own separate video. It's a big one. It's an important one. It's so serious. It's a serious question, because I can't imagine. I know how I was, not knowing how to ask for help, you know, feeling ashamed and embarrassed and too prideful and all of that kind of stuff. I can't imagine how many millions of people feel the same way right now, you know, and we're talking 12 years later. Right now, people are thinking, I really wish I could get some help, but I don't know how to ask for it. You know, how do I do this without somebody thinking less of me? And I want that shit to stop. Okay, so when you're ready to ask for help, which is the best thing ever, and I hope this reaches everybody that it needs to, everybody that wants to ask for help. Reaches you. I hope this reaches you. Ask for help. Ask for it in any of the ways that I'm about to tell you. Like, I was just thinking of, like, what are some ways that people could, you know, ask for help if they don't want to just come right out and, you know, like I didn't want to when I could have. But, you know, drugs, they change the way you think. Like, they really change your brain, and it just, they make you stupid, and they make you think stupid. They make you think, they just make you think stupid. So, when you're ready to ask, I'll be so happy for you. And I know it's scary. I know how scary it is to ask for help with addiction. I don't know why it's not, you know, it's not scary. Hey, I got cancer, I need help. Why shouldn't it be the same way with addiction? I've got addiction, I need help. That shouldn't be a problem. That should not be looked down upon. Anyway, I know it's scary, but once you do it, once you ask for help, and once you get that ball rolling, it's such a relief. It's such a relief, and it's such a weight off your shoulders. You'll be glad that you did. Oh, and I wanted to mention, see, this is why I have notes, because I have little stars like mention. If you have a job, if you were lucky enough to have kept your job, you were lucky enough to have stayed employed, which actually I was employed when I got arrested. But anyway, if you are employed, I'm gonna link the resources down in the description box, but most, if not all by now, it may be all companies, except maybe like smaller ones, but most companies have what's called an EAP, which is an employee assistance program. And so if you go to your supervisor, your boss, manager, whatever, and say, look, I have, you know, a substance abuse issue, and I need to get help for it. They cannot fire you, and they will give you the time off that you need to get treatment. Not only will they give you the time off for treatment, they'll pay you for it. And sometimes, in my experience, you know, with different people, and helping them with the EAP, sometimes they'll pay you half of your salary. So sometimes you'll just get half pay. Sometimes you'll get full pay. At least you're getting paid. You're getting paid to get help, that's fantastic, you know? I mean, that's great. If you are employed, I'm sure you can look, you can do a little digging around in your health insurance or benefits packet or whatever, and it's called EAP everywhere. And it'll let you know, how yours goes. A couple of ways for you to ask for help. Now that I've done rambled on about this EAP, but I thought y'all needed to know that. A couple ways that I was thinking about how you can reach out and ask for help. Reach out to a medical professional, like a therapist or a substance abuse facility. Like a quick Google search will pull up places around you, and you can ask them. I mean, they specialize in what you're going through, so they'll tell you what your next steps should be. They'll let you know if you're employed. They'll let you know right then and there if they take your insurance. If they don't take insurance, there's still places that are state funded, so don't let that discourage you. Another way that you can ask for help is if you know somebody that's been through it before, or like it could be somebody in your family, somebody you just like kind of are acquainted with, anything like that. Or hit up an AA meeting or an NA meeting. You can find them online. But talk to somebody that's been there before. Like me. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Like, I love when people ask me, hey, because we remember what it was like to be there. That's not something you ever forget. That is not something that you ever forget. So if you can find somebody that has been in your shoes and talk to them about it, they'll give you some great advice. They will. You can reach out to somebody online, and I will link a bunch of resources, like online resources. They have so many different resources, because sometimes I feel like for some people, that are shy or whatever, it's easier to chat, in a forum or online to a counselor, just chatting back and forth and not having to be face to face. They've got helplines, chat rooms, websites. Another quick good old Google, another quick Google search, or DuckDuckGo, whichever you prefer. It'll turn up a ton of stuff. I did it just to make sure. But like I said, sometimes it's easier to talk about it from the safety of a computer rather than face to face with somebody, and that's perfectly okay. It's also helpful for some people to talk to a stranger first, like I said, before talking to somebody that they know. There's less fear of being judged like that when you're talking to a stranger instead of somebody that you know, because it's a little more anxiety producing when it's somebody that you know. You're like, shit, how do I get the nerve up to do this? Trust me, I know. You can also talk to somebody that you trust implicitly. If there's somebody that is your confidant that you tell everything to, like your best friend or your aunt or whoever it is, if there's somebody that you just tell everything to, that you are just not worried, about them, they're not just going to spread your business all over, talk to them. Talk to them and tell them what's going on, and tell them that you're, seeking treatment and exploring your treatment options, and just knowing that they're going to be there for you, and knowing that you were able to get that off your chest and just tell somebody else, and you're not carrying it around alone anymore. That's going to feel better. And they can be there with you every step of the way. The last one that I thought of was either writing a letter or an email. I've got on here, for some people, writing's easier than speaking, especially when it comes to asking for help. There's something about writing that allows you to collect your thoughts and organize them in a way that makes sense. And by doing this, you might even realize some new things about yourself and your struggles. And another benefit of writing is that once you hit send on that email or once you mail that letter off, however you choose to do it, it cannot be undone. So you can't go and take that back. It's done. It's out of your hands and you're on to the next step. So I hope that's helpful in ways that you can ask for help. The next question that I get the most is, when I'm ready for treatment, what are the treatment options? There's so many. There's so many you would not believe. And I always say I support all pathways to recovery, all, because it's not one size fits all. Like what works for me might not work for you. And what works for you might not work for your best friend. It's just, you have to figure out what works for you. What is going to keep you sober for the rest of your life so that you don't have to deal with the misery that you're dealing with. Get that shit out the way and enjoy the rest of your life. You will be so happy that you did. Okay, so treatment options. It depends on several factors, including the type of addictive disorder, the length and severity of use, and its effects on the user. So most people will see somebody send help or a teleprompter or something. Why do y'all watch me? I can't even talk. That's probably why I laugh when I edit. Most people will receive a combination of treatments. Some of the options include detox and inpatient treatment, medically assisted treatment, psychological counseling, self-help groups, and medication. A combination of inpatient and outpatient treatment. So detox. Okay, I'm just going to break these down real quick. Detoxification is normally the first step in any treatment. It involves a stay in a treatment clinic where they will clear substances from your body, and they do it in a safe way. So they're going to use medications to reduce those withdrawal symptoms so they're not going to be as bad. They're going to make you a lot more comfortable than if you were to go cold turkey on the bathroom floor. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Because that could have some severe consequences, which I'll talk about later on. Counseling and behavioral therapies. Therapy can be a one-to-one or group session. This is the most common form of treatment following detox. Therapy might occur one-to-one, group, or family basis depending on the needs of the individual. So it's usually intensive at first, like it's really, really intensive because that's what you need. And the number of sessions will gradually reduce over time as your symptoms improve. The different types of therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps people recognize and change ways of thinking that have associations with substance abuse. There's multidimensional family therapy, which is designed to improve family function around a teenager with a substance-related disorder. There's motivational interviewing, which maximizes an individual's willingness to change and make adjustments to their behaviors. And there's motivational incentives that encourage abstinence through positive reinforcement. Counseling for addiction aims to help people change behaviors and attitudes around using a substance, as well as strengthening life skills and coping skills and supporting other treatments. Some form of treatment for addictive disorders focuses on underlying cause of the addictive disorder in addition to behaviors characteristic of the addiction. So, you know, like I said, I was hurt, and that's why I started using, I was like, oh, okay, it numbs it, and I don't have to feel this pain. This is fantastic. Instead of coping with it and working through the pain, oh, no, I just went and was like, oh, these drugs right here, this pain medication, it also takes away heartache. Fantastic. Don't do that. No. Ain't nobody worth that. Nobody or nothing worth that. So just get you a therapist. Work through that pain before you destroy life. Okay, and then there's the rehab programs, the treatment programs. The longer-term treatment programs for substance-related and addictive disorders provide 24-hour care, a safe housing environment, and supply any necessary medical interventions or assistance. They can be highly effective and typically focus on the patient remaining drug-free and resuming their functional role within social, professional, and family responsibilities. There are facilities that provide a therapeutic environment, including short-term residential treatments that focus on detoxification, and then preparing you for a longer stay within a therapeutic community with intensive counseling. The therapeutic communities are for people wanting long-term treatment for severe forms of addiction and consists of you living in a residence for a period of 6 to 12 months with on-site staff and other people in recovery. The communities of others in recovery, along with the staff, serve as key factors in your recovery, producing changes in attitude and behaviors towards drug use. Then there's what's called recovery housing. This provides a supervised short-term stay in housing to help you engage with responsibilities and adapt to new independent life with ongoing substance abuse. Recovery housing includes advice on handling finances, finding work, as well as providing the connection between a person during the final stages of recovery and community support services. Then there's medication-assisted treatment. With this type of treatment, you take medication on a continuous basis while recovering from addiction and its related complications. The medication will vary depending on the substance that you were addicted to. Longer-term use of medications significantly reduces cravings and prevents relapsing. Medication-assisted treatment can be used alone in conjunction with counseling such as psychotherapy. Then there's the self-help groups. These are like AA, NA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. Those are the self-help groups. They can help a person with a substance use disorder feel less isolated. Meetings are held in a group setting. They can also serve to educate and give you more information about drug use or alcohol use. The next question is one that I get asked a lot, and it is, why do people become addicted? I get asked this question so much that I made a whole video on it. A whole entire video just for this one question. And it goes very, very, very in depth about the causes of addiction. Let's say there are several reasons that people start to use drugs, okay? People can be hurt emotionally. They can be hurt physically. They can go through trauma. You know, somebody can traumatize them so horribly. Or it can just be anxiety. You know, people can have such bad anxiety. Any of those things. And people will self-medicate. And once they realize that this substance fixes what they're feeling, they continue to use it. Now, whether or not they're going to become addicted to it is a whole lot deeper than we're going to go today. I'll link that video in the description box, so if you want to find out the science behind why people become addicted, like why some become addicted and why some don't. It's very interesting, so you should definitely watch that. The next question that I get asked a lot, and I get asked this a lot by mostly parents, and it's, how do I know if my loved one is addicted? Like, what are the signs? What do I need to look for? How do I know if they're addicted? And like I said, it's mostly parents, but sometimes I'll get it from like girlfriends or wives or husbands or that kind of thing. So what I normally tell people is the main thing that you should do before you do anything else is educate yourself. Learn everything that you can about addiction. Learn everything that you can, okay? Because you need to prepare yourself to have a conversation with this person. And one of the main things that I request is that you do not, when you have this conversation with the person that you're wondering is, you know, are they using drugs? Do not be judgmental. Don't be confrontational. Don't, because it's not what they need. When you have a conversation with them, after you've educated yourself on it, you need to come from a place of concern, a place of love, a place of, I love you unconditionally, and no matter what you're going through, we can get through it. So let's talk about it. Ask them direct questions. Let them know that you've noticed some changes and that you're concerned, and let them talk to you. Be prepared for them to deny everything. I mean, they may not be ready to change yet. They may have just gotten started, and they might not be to that point to where they're wanting help or wanting to talk about it or any of that. Because I can tell you that my best friend came to me and was like, and I was like, I'm fine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. I was not good. I was so far from good. If I told y'all the amount of pain medication that I did on a daily basis, it would blow your mind. It blows my mind how I did not die. Also, I have on here, please know that you cannot love somebody out of an addiction. If you could, all these mamas out here, all these mamas and daddies and husbands, wives, would nobody be addicted. We wouldn't have any need for treatment centers. If love could cure an addiction, it can't. It cannot. And like I say in my other video, they know that they're hurting you. They are so ashamed when they hurt you. And I also suggest to the person that asks me, how do I know if somebody's addicted? And that's when I tell them, like, you need to prepare to have a conversation. You also need to be prepared for them to lie to you, to deny it, all of that. I also tell them, please get some support. It is so difficult to love somebody that has an addiction. No matter what that addiction is, alcohol, drugs. I'm talking about, when I say addiction, I'm not talking about just drugs. I'm talking about alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, whatever the addiction is. But mostly substances is what I'm talking about. Because I don't really know a lot about the other ones, just substances. So get some support, you know, whether that is Al-Anon or Narcanon. Just have somebody that you can talk to, because it's hard. It is so hard to love somebody that is addicted. Oh, Lord have mercy, is it hard. Not only is it hard to love them, it's devastating to watch them self-destruct. It's traumatic to see them struggling, see them losing that struggle, and there's nothing that you can do, because until they won't help, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing, you cannot force them to get help. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. They're not going to get help for you. They're not going to get help for anybody but themselves. So when they're ready, that's when they'll get help, and that's when it'll take. But you can't force them. You can't force it on them. But just be open when they want to talk. Be open and don't be judgmental. That's my main thing, is don't be judgmental, or you will get nowhere with them. The next question that I get a lot is, can I quit on my own? And my short answer to this is, hell no. I wanted to say F word no, but YouTube don't really take kindly to the F word. I mean, it'll pop out every once in a while. I'm sure y'all have noticed if you watch my channel. If I talk, I'm a cuss. So it just pops out sometimes, and I just can't reel it back in, and I don't realize it until I'm editing, and I'm like, well, F it, we just gonna go with it because it just popped out. But short answer, hell no. You cannot do this on your own. Look, half of the people that get treatment relapse in the first year. So if half of the people that get treatment relapse, can you imagine the people that don't get treatment? You don't stand a chance. You do not stand a chance. I don't know a single person that is in recovery that has done it on their own. Not a single person. Not a single solitary person that has done it on their own. Nobody. Nobody. You need to go to treatment. Like I said, in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor or anything, but in my opinion, I think you need professional help. You need to seek treatment. You need to do whatever it is, whatever program works for you, because just the detox alone can be so dangerous. I'm talking seizures. I'm talking overdose. Like if they're in detox and the detox is so bad because it's bad. It's so bad they're wanting to crawl out of their skin, and they're just like, okay, just one more and then I'm going to finish detoxing. They can overdose and die. You can have withdrawal related deaths. So it's way too dangerous to try to stop on your own. Just get help. Get help. Please get help. And I'm going to leave so many resources in the description box. So many of them. If you have any questions for me, because that's the questions that I picked that I get asked the most, because they are probably the ones that I get asked the most. If you have any questions for me, comment. I'll answer. I'll answer anything that you ask me. Trust me, there's never anything that's too TMI for me. Y'all should know that by now. If y'all been watching me, I don't care. I mean, especially when it comes to addiction, I don't care. I will do anything to get somebody help. I don't care. If you are struggling and you are watching this, this is your sign. Please, 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 please get some help. And I will see y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching.